good. All right, we'll get started. Thanks everybody for joining us today at our season kickoff press conference with Austin FC Sporting Director Rodolfo Borrell. We'll go ahead and get straight into questions. We can start with 2 per person as usual, and we'll come back around as we have more time. Laura, we can begin with you.
Buenos días, señor Rodolfo.
Buenos días.
Desde la construcción del plantel, ¿usted considera que este es el equipo más completo que ha tenido Sin FC desde que usted llegó al plantel?
Hombre, yo creo que sí, ¿no? Porque de alguna manera trabajamos con este propósito, el de mejorar el equipo cada una de las ventanas. Entonces, claro, si ahora yo creo que es de lógica no solo decir que sí, sino que creo que sí, porque cada vez, de alguna manera, como te he comentado, ahora estamos buscando de mejorar el equipo, no solo individualmente, sino colectivamente. Entonces, en ese sentido, sí.
Entonces, desde la perspectiva de los hinchas, ¿sería justo exigir como mínimo superar lo que se hizo la temporada pasada, considerando que el plantel luce ahora más fuerte?
Yo creo que si sigues un poco la MLS, el plantel es más fuerte para todos los equipos. Todos los equipos de MLS están trayendo jugadores, mejorando las plantillas. Entonces, evidentemente, los hinchas tienen toda la libertad de soñar y soñar grande, que creo que de alguna manera todos tenemos que soñar en grande. Pero la verdad que para mí sigue siendo el objetivo principal, es clasificarse para los playoffs y luego a partir de aquí intentar avanzar y evidentemente que intentar ganar.
Just the off season, did it go to your liking? Did you get most of what you probably did? No one probably got everything they wanted to get done, but did you get most things done that you wanted to?
Within what we were able to do, yes. But this is again, so one thing is what we do and what we bring, and the other thing is what would be my final goal in regards to squad and team. But again, we have our ownership is very ambitious, but at the end of the day, they can only affect a certain amount of players within the team that are the ones that you can tackle with discretionary money. The rest of the players depend on the cap flexibility, and everyone knows we haven't had much since the very beginning. But within what we can afford doing up until now, yes.
And why Facundo for a DP? What did you what do you like about him that you guys kind of focused in on him to bring him in?
Well, one of the things that, not that I've learned, but I can see that is much more not trendy, this is not the word, I'm sorry, I'm just stuck in how to say the right word. At the end of the day, what I want to say is that Facundo is an MLS proven player, and it is true that this league is a very particular league, very difficult because it's very different than many others, and the fact of bringing one player who has already proven himself in this league by scoring goals and assisting and performing with regularity, I think is important compared to other players that I'm not saying they are not good. They might be even better, but suddenly they come to the league and for whatever reason they don't perform the same. So what I mean is that nothing can ensure you anything, but that's true that a player who has already been proven in MLS gives, at least from the start, more guarantees.
Muy buenos días. La temporada pasada la MLS reportó que Austin tenía 44,000 en GAN y esta temporada se reportó que tenía 2 millones.
Bueno, los 2 millones esos no existen.
Okay. Entonces preguntarle más bien por el pasado porque...
Le digo que no existen porque a partir del momento que cuando se reportó lo de los 2 millones, que me parece que eran 2.500.000, si no me acuerdo mal, era justo antes de traer a Facundo. A partir del momento que tú traes al tercer DP ya no tienes 2 millones extra de GAM. Por lo tanto, en vez de 2,5, cuando leísteis, eran 500.000, no 2,5.
Okay. Bueno, preguntarle si hay alguna razón por la que en el pasado se tenía tan poco GAM.
Bueno, no estoy aquí para hablar del pasado, pero sí que es verdad que la realidad que me encontré cuando llegué, todo el mundo la sabe. Entonces, no es ningún secreto que remontar, pues no es fácil. Am, pero bueno, al final el modelo MLS en general es un modelo, tiene que ser un modelo en el cual traes jugadores y cuando puedes vender, vendes jugadores, ¿vale? Porque es la única manera de aumentar tu camp, digamos. Es decir, no sé si estás al día con el tema de la normativa, pero todo lo que sean transfers hasta 3 millones de lo que tú transfieres lo puedes sumar a lo que es la cantidad de GAM que tienes y eso es realmente lo que marca la diferencia. El problema está en que los dos jugadores que hemos vendido y que yo creo que hemos vendido muy bien son DPs y eso no aplica en el caso de que sean DPs, ¿vale? Esa es la explicación del por qué no se ha podido añadir todavía dinero que hemos conseguido a través de los transfers on top of what we've got.
Y preguntarle por su opinión de la plantilla, ¿qué tan confiado está para la profundidad de plantilla de cara a enfrentar estas tres competiciones de este año?
Bueno, es verdad que una competición más te acaba trayendo más estrés competitivo y más minutos y por lo tanto más lesiones y más desgaste. Pero bueno, de alguna manera creo que tenemos al menos un par de jugadores que pueden jugar en cada posición y ese es el mínimo que tienes que intentar mirar cuando construyes una plantilla.
Juan?
You just brought up that you have players that can play in multiple different positions. Did you prioritize positional flexibility in this offseason signings?
Positional flexibility is an important thing, but it's not the only one thing. So at the end of the day, is that the most important thing is if the player is good enough, is if we think that he's good enough to deliver here in Austin and to bring something to the team that we already have. If in addition he can play in different positions, if he's versatile, even better. Yes, it's one of the things we are looking at, but not the main one. No, it doesn't mean that if he's not versatile, we are not going to bring him. Okay.
And similar vein, but it feels like you brought in a lot of proven MLS experience. Was that something that you prioritized more this window relative to other windows that you've been in charge of building the roster for the team?
Well, that's obvious. At the very beginning, when I came here, there was not the rule that you were able to sign players for cash within the league, and because if this would have been possible from the very beginning, I would have brought more from the league. That's for sure. Not because I disregard the players from outside of the league, but there is always the component of adaptability to the country, adaptability to the league, adaptability to the traveling, to the distances, to the changes of weather and schedules, etc., etc. So, at the end of the day, an MLS player who has been already in MLS, at least you can have a closer idea to what he can and bringing to the team.
Brandon?
Rodo, there's been a lot of discussion in national media about about the absence of a proven high assist chance creator in this current team. You've had guys like Torres, Nelson, Rosales have all created chances in the past, high quality players, but none of them have they're not guys you'd expect to get 20 assists in a season.
Mm-hmm.
My question is what is your philosophy on chance creation, and do you believe that a modern team needs that true 10, like a primary chance creator, or do you think that can be done in the aggregate with a group of players contributing?
Glenn yourself has replied the question: can be done through one player or can be done through the aggregate. What I'm going to say here, and maybe I'm not replying direct to your question, but I think it's going to go straight to the point, is when I arrived here, I really thought I would be able to bring everything I wanted much quicker in less markets. The reality, who some of my colleagues already told me, you understand, but until you are not in, it's very difficult, is that to get players over the line in MLS is very difficult. because again, this is not a league where it's just pocket money and I bring this player, or I get rid of 8 players and I bring 8. So there are very strict rules and regulations for everybody. So I'm not complaining about that. And I have to say that I'm very happy to what I've been able to bring during the period that I've been here. I think if you look at the roster from the moment I landed to the roster right now, the difference is huge, with very little flexibility in the cap, with very much support from ownership in regards to discretionary and being able to bring DPs. That's completely different than the cap flexibility. I've been here 2.5 years, and I feel that yes, as I mentioned to her from the very beginning, the squad is getting every time better and better, but at the same time, everyone is getting better and better. So I feel that I'm gonna need a little bit more to end bringing exactly what I want. Having said that, it's not about philosophy or not. Sometimes you bring players with an idea of what they can do, what they can deliver, for what they have done in the past, and suddenly, for whatever reason, they come here and they don't perform the same or they don't adapt the same. So then this is about reacting and trying to bring the right pieces. But again, it's not easy. It's not as easy as say, you out and you in. So you need to respect contracts and to respect rules and regulations of the league. And this, unfortunately, takes time. So I'm not close to bringing that piece. I think, on the other hand, guys, that you have an obsession, an incredible obsession for the number 10, the number 10, the number 10. There are many top teams in the world who haven't got a number 10, okay? But it looks like here, without the number 10, we cannot live. And again, I think the opportunities or the assists can come from different angles, can come also from a number 10. I'm not saying no to that player coming in at some point in the future. But yes, this is where I'm at.
Buenos días, primero, gracias por estar aquí. Es un torneo raro, ¿no? En términos de calendario, de que va a haber un parón por el Mundial, de que hay otros torneos que están, en donde Austin sí va a estar participando. El equipo está listo para un torneo que parece como de transición, y usted ya está viendo también lo que va a pasar en el próximo torneo, que también cambian un poco tiempos y todo.
¿De transición sobre el 2027 o...?
Ajá, exacto.
Bueno, lo de que es un año un poco así, sí, pero en verdad la MLS en general es un poco, bueno, es un poco, no, es muy diferente, ¿no? De nuevo, o sea, el tema de, por ejemplo, que todavía hay equipos jugando en césped artificial, o las diferencias horarias, las distancias, todo eso lo cambia totalmente, ¿no? El hecho de que haya un parón en verano, pues bueno, creo que al final para algunos será positivo, para otros será negativo. Es decir, los que lleguen con un buen momentum al final de esta primera parte preferirían que no hubiera el parón. Los que no lleguen también preferirán el parón, pero todo eso es muy difícil de anticipar. Al final, justo o no justo, mejor o peor, va a ser igual para todos. Por lo tanto, en cuanto a nosotros, pues bueno, hemos tenido bastantes dificultades en pretemporada con gente viniendo de lesiones y no pudiendo actuar hasta muy al final. Por ejemplo, Mirto y Facu solo pudieron coger minutos en los 2 últimos partidos de pretemporada, no estuvieron disponibles antes. Tenemos el tema de Owen Wolf, como ya sabéis todos. Y luego que todo el mundo, como siempre, no aquí, no, en todas partes, cuando hay una lesión larga, todo el mundo parece olvidar que uno de nuestros jugadores más importantes no está disponible desde el pasado mes de julio. Esto parece como que se ha olvidado completamente, porque bueno, es el deporte, ¿no? Cuando de alguna manera no estás en el día a día, la gente se olvida de ti, desafortunadamente. Pero Brandon es un jugador muy importante para nosotros y no lo tuvimos desde el pasado mes de julio. Y eso es algo que no he escuchado demasiado tampoco.
Hay una cierta presión, me imagino, extra quizás por dar resultados pronto, ¿no? La gente está expectante de resultados prontos. En su cabeza hay como que algún momento, algún tiempo o alguna marca que el equipo tiene que cumplir antes de pensar en cambios radicales en dirección técnica durante este torneo.
Yo creo que yo siempre he dicho que ustedes pueden vivir como quieran en relación a lo que son realidad en comparación a expectativas. Yo eso no lo puedo parar. Yo tengo muy claro en mi cabeza lo que es la realidad y la expectativa que tiene que ser. Pero a partir de aquí ustedes y los fans tienen todo el derecho a soñar del mundo. Nosotros soñamos grande, le tengo que decir. Siempre uno empieza la temporada con la máxima ilusión y de nuevo le vuelvo a decir, de entrar en los playoffs, de avanzar en los playoffs, de intentar ganar todo, ¿vale? Pero a partir de aquí, pues solo gana uno, solo entran un determinado número de equipos en los playoffs y todo el mundo lucha por los mismos objetivos y todo el mundo se refuerza con mejores jugadores. Entonces no es un tema de que Austin FC trae 4 jugadores y los demás no traen nadie, sino que todo el mundo trae jugadores y todo el mundo trae jugadores importantes y todo el mundo tiene los mismos objetivos y bueno, como en cualquier país del mundo, pues la dificultad de ganar está ahí, ¿no? De nuevo, soñamos, somos ambiciosos y queremos hacerlo lo mejor posible, pero bueno, me gustaría que hubiera un poco más de equilibrio entre lo que es la realidad y la expectativa. Pero eso yo no lo puedo, son ustedes los que dictan eso.
Moises?
This season, 2026, people have said that it's a season of 2 seasons. There's the first half of the season and the 2-month break across the World Cup, then the second half of the season. You have, for GAM, traded the first half of 2 international slots. How did you look at the tactical decision of making those transactions? Were there possible fills for those international slots that you were waiting to hear on? Was it a matter of the opportunity to sell the half year of those slots that you just needed to wait to come up? What strategically went into that transaction?
Very simple. We have a situation where we cannot do anything else in this market, in this transfer window. And because of the GAM situation, so it's not because we don't want, so because of the GAM situation. And it was just about to set ourselves in the best position possible in order to be able to bring somebody in the summer. So in order to have more GAM, one of the things was if we were not going to use these international roster spots now, why not to transfer them for a record number, the 2 of them, by the way, the 2 until the summer. So the 2 until the summer, I think they're going to bring us 475,000 GAM. So this means that if we were having 500,000, this is duplicating the amount of GAM that we were having. So at the numbers that we are at, we thought this was the right move to do. So if at this moment in time we were not able to bring them, to give them better use, this was the right move. Try to get the most GAM possible in order to be able to bring something in the summer.
And one of the things that constantly comes up when rumors go around, and to be clear, this isn't about one specific rumor, but in many different rumors that have come during your tenure, people bring up questions of, does this look likely? Oh, does this look reasonable? That sort of thing. I was wondering if you could articulate to us a little bit. You mentioned that it's hard to bring anything across the line when it comes to players into MLS. Can you tell us a bit more about the process? So when the process begins in terms of a conversation, and every transaction is different, every situation is different, of course, is the first step an interested club getting to personal conditions with a player? do they always reach out to the club first? Do they go to the players' representatives first? Is it something that varies? Because what I think everyone should anticipate reasonably is that you're going to have to start selling players at some point, including people that fans are very big fans of. And in understanding better that process, and not necessarily deciding whether one rumor or another is more credible.
When us purchasing players, you mean?
When, let's say a player transferring out.
Out.
A
Yeah.
player transferring out.
It can be different ways. Sorry.
So, if you could just speak specifically to that.
It can be different ways. It can be the agent reaching out to you because a club has contacted him. So it starts this way. It can be that you are willing to move the player, and you have different ways to you understand, for the people to get to know that you are willing to move the player. So, and it might go this way as well, okay? It might go that the club contacts you. I would like to say that this would be the 100% right way to do things, but I think 0.1% do that. So usually, when they contact you, they have already reached out to the agent of the player, or the players know something, you know. I guess as well, because you might go direct to the club, and the club might have an opinion, but then the player has a completely different opinion. So usually this is more of a waste of time, and I guess that's why the people reach out first to the agent and say, what's the situation? Do you think it would be possible a move? If he's under contract, for how much you think they would be asking for? And it usually starts this way.
So it would be a very common situation where an interested club would reach out to a player's representatives, come to personal terms, bonuses, whatever, and that sort of thing. And it could really just mean absolutely nothing if they haven't talked to the club.
Yes, of course, because that's one of the things sometimes sporting directors will get upset because, and this actually is a good question because I'm going to use it to explain a kind of situation that sometimes happens and is not good. And is that sometimes they reach out to the agent or to the player, and they offer the player a certain salary, and the player is all over the place because they have offered him, let's say double money. And then the club comes to you, and it's a player, let's gonna say that the value is, I don't know, 3 to 4 million, and they are offering you 1 million. And then the player is upset. Because they're going to pay me double. They're going to pay me double because they're offering 1 million. So this is the same if I'm calling Haaland, at Man City, and saying, hey, Haaland, how much are you earning? No, 500,000 a week. 500,000 a week? Come here to Austin. I'm going to offer you 750 a week. Oh, the player, what's the issue? The issue is that I will have to end going to the club, and they will tell me, the transfer is 200 million. So at the moment that is 200 million, I cannot be offering him 750 a week. Does that make sense? So this is exactly the same. That sometimes clubs and agents especially are selfish, and they try to put in the head of the players like they are offering them double salary, which is fine, but they obviously have to pay a transfer fee. They are not going to get double salary. 1 million, 1 million, what is this? No, you're not deciding the price, we are deciding the price. So there has to be a balance when somebody wanted to obtain a team between that we have to be happy as a club, and he obviously will be happy salary-wise. But we have to have a certain amount incoming guaranteed, because if I let go a player for less money that his value, and I cannot bring at least a similar player, you are all going to kill me. Yes? That's fine, no? So I have to guarantee that if we let go a player, we let it go for an amount that at least we can replace that player. If not, doesn't make any sense to us.
Quick, just a
It is
follow-up.
true that at some point, and I'm going to reply more because it's interesting to me this question to mention several things. I think for the first time, this is my opinion, we have a squad where there are a few players that are valuable. Valuable, I mean, that could have interest from other clubs at some point. And it is true that, like it or not, at some point, although ownership and the club is showing very much ambition, trying to keep our best talents in town, but at some point, if we want to increase the cap money, we will have to trade one of the players.
And that player is?
What?
I was joking.
Todd?
What's the main thing you want to see Saturday night? I mean, obviously a win's great, but what's the main thing you want to see from this club Saturday night? Because at the end of the last season, you know, there was that sense of urgency. Do you want to see that sense of urgency from the beginning and through this first part? I mean, what do you want to see Saturday night that really lets you know we're on the right track?
You always want to see your team in the front foot from the very beginning. I have to say that these first games always they are very uncertain. Sometimes the willingness to wanting to do so well, and from the very beginning it works completely against. Sometimes no. I remember, without mentioning years, that one of the 2 years I've been here, we were extremely flat. And it's not the team didn't want it. Suddenly, sometimes the team is building up, and it builds up so much that it comes flat. And sometimes it's the opposite. But I would like to see a team that, like everyone, I guess, no, that is in the front foot and trying to win the game from the very beginning. And as I mentioned to the staff and to the players constantly, is I think in MLS it's important to treat every single game as a final, because every game is 3 points. It's not more points against some opponents than others. It's 3 points all the time, at the beginning, at the end, again, at home, on the road, and against whoever you play. So to start adding points from the very beginning is very important, and try to get them all along the way is very important too. I don't believe in that stuff of like we push the accelerator the last 10 games of the season. I think this has to be something that comes from day one.
Are you seeing a good chemistry develop with these new players, and is it going the way you had hoped it would go? I know you're not where you want to be, but
The reality is that it's been again a difficult precision because of some key pieces were out because of injuries, and it was, if they don't train and they don't play together, so the chemistry, yes, is outside of the training sessions as well, by spending time together. That's why we do precision, although we could be here because the weather here is fabulous for a precision. But if we try to move somewhere like Coachella, it's not only to have games, if not that they can spend more time together and build that chemistry on. But at the end of the day, the chemistry that we want is on the pitch, and this is done by training and playing together. And yes, I would have preferred to have a little bit more precision, because right now, just the players are coming back, and to build that more, but it is the way it is, and we have to take it on and have to show our best from day one, which is this weekend.
Anybody else along the back line? No? All right, we can start second round. Laura?
Antes de que empezara la temporada, uno de los mayores humos fue la llegada de James Rodríguez a los Austin FC. Se habló en toda parte. Pero ¿tuvo usted contacto para traer a James Rodríguez a Austin FC?
Nunca. Como muchos otros rumores que salen, que yo me quedo un poco alucinado.
Por eso le quería preguntar.
No, esto al final tienen que entender que son agentes que quieren traer al jugador a un mercado determinado y van soltando pues un rumor aquí, se va haciendo grande, Y al final, ¿qué pasa? Que es una manera de alertar a todos los de esa liga, oh, este jugador está predispuesto a venir aquí, y a ver si hay alguien que lo acaba cogiendo, como ha sido el caso de Minnesota. No porque el jugador no sea bueno, sino porque en ese momento pues no lo contemplábamos y no tuvimos ningún contacto.
What's Owen's status? Have you been happy with his, kind of?
Well, I would have preferred this to get it done at the end of last season, so he would be ready and having gone through the full preseason, but for different reasons it couldn't be possible. And right now the reality is that he's progressing well. He's a little bit uncertain when he's gonna come back in full, but yes, he's progressing well and he's like through the normal process. So there hasn't been, at least until now, there hasn't been any setbacks or some collateral effects that sometimes happen with these kind of things.
No, go for it.
What's your expectation for kind of the first half of the year? Like, is there a spot in the table you want to be at going into the 2-month break?
This is obviously as high as possible, like everyone else. Is this true that it is true that is a season that is different because it's that big gap in the middle, and not only that, if not that usually the first half of the season is like more of a 3/4 of a season, and in this particular case, after the break, there are even more games than before the break, and this will make possible for teams to be able to react the way they want during the summer. But from now until the summer, like everyone else, I guess, is trying to add as more points to the table as possible. To remain healthy is important for us in order to be able to have all the players at our disposal all the time. That is what we haven't got during this preseason, and look how this has affect things in a grand manner. And again, yes, accumulating as many points as possible.
Quiero preguntarle también, desde Turquía se reportó que había un equipo interesado en Mirtu Sumi. Preguntarle si esa negociación sí llegó y cómo lo hizo para retenerlo.
Mire, ofertas llegan, ahora no lo tomen por el lado contrario, lo voy a decir constantemente, no es constantemente, pero ofertas van llegando por jugadores. Al final todo es un tema para llegar a un acuerdo, sí, lo que le he dicho antes, el jugador evidentemente tiene que estar contento, pero el club tiene que estar satisfecho también. El club al final es el que hace, los propietarios son los que hacen un gasto importante para atraer jugadores, y al final si tiene que haber un movimiento tiene que ser porque a todas partes beneficia o interesa. Y eso a veces llega y no interesa, o a veces llega y el timing no es el ideal. Entonces, no es un tema solo de Mirto, es un tema de con otros jugadores. A veces llegan ofertas, pero claro, llegan ofertas en un momento que a lo mejor ya no puedes traer a nadie, porque ya no hay tiempo de nada. ¿Me explico o no? O porque no interesa por lo que le he dicho, porque al jugador le ofrece mucho dinero, pero te intentan comprar al jugador por nada, ¿entiendes? Entonces, claro, todo eso es lo que hay que evaluar y en cada momento y decidir qué es lo mejor para el club.
In the case specifically of Mirto, with the timing of the recent rumor, to your point, would it have been practical or reasonable? Would there have been a dollar amount that would have made a deal like that happen at the stage of the preseason when it happened? Would you have been able to bring somebody in? Would you have been able to work with the roster without Mirto for the right amount?
To me, the most important is that we need to try to ownership again is very ambitious and want to retain our best players, although at some point, because of cap situation, we will have to move somebody, as I mentioned before. But most important, we have to be careful in not to unbalance the team completely for a long period of time. And sometimes there are moves that they are gonna bring you, you know that they're gonna bring you lots of issues because you literally don't have anyone else to play in a certain position, for example. And we think it's not the right timing. In regards of dollar amount, this is something that depends again on the moment of the player, the moment they are coming for the player. If you are willing to sell, if you are not willing to sell, if the player you are willing to bring, with that money you will be able to bring what you want as a replacement, and make more difference than the other player was doing. So it's about to put in balance many different things. And what is might be, I just say numbers to say numbers, might be 2 now, in half a year might be 3.5, or might be 1, or might be depending again on the situation and on the moment of the player, of the club, of the timing, of many different things, like in any other deal.
And in general, going back to the international slots, regardless of those two coming back in July, do you have any awareness about the rule change regarding Canadian players, regarding Jaden's international slot, when that officially goes into effect? What does that do? Does that now give you another international slot that's available, for example, in the event you want to call up Jorge Lastaway from the second team during this first half of the season? Is it your impression that you'll have that international slot during the first portion of the season to do something like that?
Yeah, but this is not still official. So we don't know when and if this, it looks like yes, but we don't know when this is gonna come. So at the moment that it happens, then we will evaluate and we will do accordingly to what we think is best.
Maybe I'll have a second one. Landon?
I want to ask a question about the division of responsibilities between you and Nico. You've made comments before to the effect of like your job is to find good players and bring them here. His job is to make it work on the field. I know that's an oversimplification of it, but I'd be curious to hear you describe how you view that division of responsibilities and how much responsibility you have to find players that fit together, or if your job is just to find good players.
No, well, I have to say that the scouting department and myself obviously is a very long process, but everything starts describing the profiles of players that we want for each one of the positions according to the way of play we would like to implement. Everything starts there. So you have to describe what you want out of a fullback, what you want out of if you're going to play with 4 out of a fullback, if you're going to play with 5 out of a wingback, because the profile is completely different. If you're going to be switching formations, obviously you have to be ready to have people who can perform as a fullback and what we want out of it and what we want out of the wingbacks. If you're going to play with wingers high and wide, if you want that these wingers are coming inside, for example, and may come this figure of number 10 from the side instead of being permanent in the middle. Defining all of that. Once this happens, it's about time to find them. Obviously, again, within the restrictions and regulations and everything that we have, which is not easy. And then, obviously, in the process, at some point in the process, you share with the coach, because in the end, you don't want to bring a player that the coach then says, no, I don't want this player, because at the end of the day, he has to decide the lineups and the starting 11 every single week with the coaching staff. And although a player might have the right characteristics, for whatever reason, the coach doesn't like the player. And so obviously at some point in the process, we always share with the coach and the coaching staff. And they have also to agree to bring the player, okay? So there is no here I don't know if it's the confusion of the mismatch of that I'm just bringing you the player and you have to make it work. No, because the coach is very much aware of the player that you're bringing, and he has to be 100% happy with bringing the player. So there is no here bringing a player and it's a surprise for the coach. Oh, now I've got this player and I have to do something with him. Having said that, and as I mentioned to you, I think during the previous question that you did, you always bring players with the best intentions to deliver what you think they can deliver according to their history and what they have done in the game and their characteristics, and sometimes work and sometimes doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, then you need to react. I need to react and try to find a solution. And this is what I was trying to tell you before, to mention before, that I'm a proactive person. I don't like to let things just go and happen. I have very clear in my mind what I want to do and what I want to do moving forward. But MLS, as I mentioned to you, in MLS it's difficult to bring players over the line, to move players sometimes, and this is taking time. So, what I mean, every time that you try to go in one direction and for whatever reason a certain player is not happening what you thought it would be happening, and you try to move on, is not an immediate thing. It's a thing that it takes time, and that's why in MLS you should try to make as less mistakes as possible, because to turn things around are not easy. Are not easy, and are not easy, that's fine, but are slow. I'm happy with the squad that we have. Again, I don't want to sound like I'm not happy with the squad that we have. I think we've been able to build a good squad, and every transfer window I think we are getting better. Again, everybody else is getting better too. And I have very clear in my head what I want to do. I want to achieve what I want to achieve. And how I want this team to grow into, and the pieces missing, and the pieces that we need to improve, or we can improve. There are always going to be pieces that you want to improve, because when you have this, you are always looking to have at least one that is better. And when you have this one, then you are looking at this in order to improve this. And sometimes there are no mistakes. It's not that there are players for certain moments and for certain situations made sense to brought, and for whatever reason, 2 years later or 3 years later, not anymore. Why? Because one of the things to me that this league is very different compared to the other ones is the growth of the league. I think the growth of this league is exponential compared to other leagues. I'm not saying it's the best league, but yes, it's the league that is growing to a higher pace compared to the other ones. And this makes very rapidly that there are players that 2 or 3 years ago, not 10, 2 or 3 years ago, could be in the starting 11 of 60-70% of teams in MLS, and right now they literally cannot find a team. And this is like something to study, because this doesn't happen anywhere else. But that's the reality. If you would make a study of many starting players of 3 years ago, different teams, that right now cannot literally find a team in MLS, is frightening. And it's not because they don't work hard anymore, or they are not, you understand, they are the same player. But the league is growing exponentially, and it's growing so rapidly that this is happening. This is happening. That's why I'm saying that sometimes there are signings that made sense 2 or 3 years ago, and 2 or 3 years after, the league is going like this, and there's no room anymore.
Hablábamos
This is my opinion and my appreciation, I'm sorry, of the league in a positive way, eh? So I'm not saying in a negative way.
Hablábamos en mi pregunta anterior acerca de expectativa contra realidad. ¿Cuál es el mensaje de Rodolfo Borrell a la afición, que está esperanzada porque este sea un año mejor a lo que tuvimos en los últimos par de años? ¿Cuál es su mensaje directamente de la afición?
Un año mejor al que tuvimos en los últimos par de años. O sea, el año pasado fue malo, ¿no?
Pues digamos que esperaban un poquito más.
Ya. Los demás equipos juegan también, ¿no?
Claro.
Muy bien. Pues nada, pues lo primero de todo agradecerles la presencia cuando acuden al campo. La verdad es, para nosotros es muy importante fanbase. Creo que, como dije el primer día, es un factor diferencial de nuestro club. Creo que son capaces de crear una atmósfera que es única, y lo digo sinceramente. Al principio, cuando llegué, fui capaz de decir eso a través de mirar imágenes de vídeo. Una vez uno lo experimenta, la verdad es esa, sobre todo comparado a la mayoría de atmósferas que uno vive en MLS a través de viajar y ver al equipo cuando juega fuera de casa. De nuevo, creo que la atmósfera es única, creo que son muy importantes para nosotros y nada, y creo que los propietarios han demostrado bien claro la ambición que tienen a través de hacer posible traer a jugadores como Facundo, por ejemplo, este año. Y no solo eso, sino a través de intentar retener el talento que tenemos, como pueden haber sido las renovaciones de Owen y Pereira, por ejemplo, que no fueron fáciles. Y nada, y lo que queremos es siempre dar lo mejor para nuestros fans, tanto jugando en casa como fuera, ganar partidos, intentar jugar lo mejor posible para que se entretengan, tengan más entretenimiento. A veces es más posible, a veces menos posible. Y luego a partir de aquí, pues intentar de nuevo clasificarnos para los playoffs y intentar lograr esto de hacerlo de una forma consistente, no ahora sí, ahora no, ahora sí, ahora no. E intentar ganar el campeonato igual que todas las demás competiciones. Esa es la ambición y lo que queremos todos, no solo los fans, la gente que trabajamos y espero que todos ustedes también. A partir de aquí, pues como la pregunta que le he hecho, hay muchos equipos que juegan y bueno, y usted yo creo que sigue el día a día de todos los equipos de MLS, entonces usted yo creo que realísticamente tiene que saber y entender en qué situación está Austin FC.
Yes, I
We'll
do.
go Laura and then Moises to wrap us up.
¿Hay alguna razón por la cual dejó ir al coach Brett Usley tras haber ganado el primer campeonato con Austin FC2 y hacer ese cambio tan, obviamente tan drástico de liderazgo?
La posición de entrenador de segundo equipo para mí no es bueno ni para el entrenador ni para el club que sea de muy larga duración. Y me explico. Yo creo que es una posición que tiene que ser transicional y de crecimiento para alguien que viene de la academia y que está en ese paso preparándose para más lo que es el mundo profesional. Y por otro lado, a nivel de academia, uno lo que busca es el desarrollo de jugadores, pero el desarrollo de entrenadores también. Entonces tiene que haber como un pipeline, ¿vale? Tiene que haber un poquito que los entrenadores de la academia también vean que hay una progresión dentro del club. ¿Me explico? Entonces, no es un tema de no clasificarse para los playoffs o clasificarse para los playoffs, porque yo creo que estar mirando todas esas cosas a nivel de segundo equipo no es lo que toca, aunque, bueno, entiendo que cada uno pues, de ustedes lo mira desde el ángulo que quiere, pero no fue un tema de que ya lleva largo tiempo y creíamos que de alguna manera habría que abrir esa posición para generar un poquito de salida, de progresión en otros entrenadores de la academia que también lo están haciendo muy bien, y luego para él un poquito pues ese medio empujón pero positivo para tirarse al mundo que él quería, además, que es el mundo profesional y el que todo el mundo quiere como entrenador, que al final es una progresión.
Del que él ya ha venido, por supuesto.
¿Del que ha venido?
Sí, porque él fue asistente de Orlando, por eso él ya había pasado.
Ya, bueno, es que él puede entender el camino de la manera que lo quiere entender y como club nosotros lo entendemos de la manera que lo queremos entender. Y de nuevo, no es nada ni personal ni el hecho de no haber entrado en los playoffs en los últimos 2 años, sino un tema de eso, de un poco de empujoncito para él también, porque a veces uno, como que ya está bien, ya está a gusto, pero tienes que crear un poquito de progresión a nivel de academia, a nivel de entrenadores también, porque si no, también se te empieza a ir todo el mundo, porque si de alguna manera hay no quiero que se entienda negativamente, pero como un tapón ahí que va a estar no sé qué y no voy a progresar, se te va yendo todo el mundo, ¿no? Y a veces, bueno, pues a veces dices, bueno, que se vayan, pero a veces también llega el momento donde crees que cambiar puede ser positivo, una diferente voz, una diferente manera de hacer las cosas dentro de la misma filosofía. Y bueno, Jason lo ha estado haciendo muy bien a nivel de fútbol de formación, como otros entrenadores, y decidimos el cambio, pero ya le digo, no por nada negativo.
We'll just wrap us up.
To try to encapsulate a lot, you've spoken a bit about expectations for the season. Last season, Mirto, Robert Taylor both had pretty challenging seasons. This happens to every player, right? Mirto adapting to the league, Robert showing up and showing some real strength and then getting injured. You've got a couple players in Owen and Danny, favorites of the fans, whose deals were renewed, who one would think there is a market for potentially in the summer following the World Cup. How would you set the fans' expectations when it comes to these players who are coming off of a season that may have been less than ideal, or maybe who didn't have a big breakout season last season who are on the roster, and then players who are maybe more favored in terms of expectations that the future is maybe undefined for them?
Again, unfortunately, these things are unpredictable. If this would be predictable, if this would be 1 + 1, 2, or 2 + 2, 4, and we would know exactly how every single player is going to perform every single game and during the season, we would anticipate movements and decisions according to that. So again, it's unpredictable. When you bring a player, you bring the player with the best intentions again. Not only this, if not the players that you already have. I remind you that absolutely everyone here was criticizing Owen Wolf 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Not 5 or 10, no, 2 years ago. And now he's phenomenal, you know? So what to expect? After a very good season, you expect another very good season. But again, this is not mathematics, and you cannot predict what is going to happen. So some players that maybe didn't perform well, they are going to perform very well, and some others not so well. And it's going to depend on momentum. It's going to depend on catching on no injuries at the wrong time. It depends on many factors. Sometimes personal circumstances or that everyone has at home that affect them to every one of them in different manner, and these are the ones that you are not aware of. You don't need to be aware of, but sometimes behind a bad season of a player or a difficult season is difficult personal circumstances, and we are human beings, and all these things affect the player, no, and the player's performance. Because if your head is not able to be 100% while on training and while on in games, then it's difficult that you perform in the right way. Again, sometimes this, sometimes momentum, sometimes especially the scorer, the people who score goals, depending how they start the season, and suddenly even they are a little bit lucky and they connect a couple of goals and bring them momentum or not. So very unpredictable, all of that. We are working towards, obviously, to expect the best, and we should expect the best from every one of them. And but again, unpredictable this, unfortunately.
How would you rate your level of confidence in your coach going into your second season with him?
The level of confidence.
Yeah, level of confidence.
Well, at the end of the day, this is about results, and I think we had a good season last year. I think the fact of, yes, unfortunately, we were not able to bring it home, and we lost the final of the US Open Cup. It was the first time in history even that the team qualified for the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and then the final. And then a sixth spot in such a competitive league with amazing clubs that have been for many many more years in the league, some of them, and some others because for whatever reason they have very good squads. Like would be, we have the Seattles, we have LAFCs, we have LA Galaxies, we have all these teams that are very, very, very good and very competitive, like we are, and we are all again fighting for the same goals and trying to achieve the very best. So in regards to the coach, I think he had a good season. It can always be better, that's for sure, and we should aim to be better every single time. But yes, looking positive to this new season.
All right, we'll wrap
What
it
I
there.
want to say is that I'm sorry for that.
no,
I want to use the opportunity to say that yes, again, and I mentioned this, I think to your question, I'm happy that the squad that we have, but this is far from the final product I want to see at some point. But it takes time. It takes time, and it takes time. It takes more time than initially I thought it would take because, and again, I was told that, but you think you might end making it different, but the reality is that because of the rules, regulations, and contracts and ways of possibility of buyout players and etc., the little possibility of that is challenging, is difficult, and it's difficult. It's not an excuse. It's difficult for every single club. And having said that, again, all the ambition in the world. We are going to welcome the fans again back at our stadium on Saturday. We hope they come in as many numbers as possible because for us they are the most important thing and they are the reason why we play for and why we fight for. At least this is the reason I fight for, trying to bring a better product every transfer window is for them. And in regards to you, only to say that obviously you are free to have your opinions, but the more united we are in that front as well, it helps always the team. It's not for me, it's for the team and for the club, but obviously you are independent and you are free to deliver what you want. That is the message that regularly our fans listen to.
All right, we'll wrap there. Thank you, Rodo. Thank you all
Yeah.
for coming out.